Introduced in 1976 by American Brett Parks, wheelchair tennis is thought by many as being the fastest growing sport for the disabled in the world. The sport's governing body, the International Wheelchair Tennis Federation, was created in 1988 and has grown from its original 4 members nations to over 50 members in 1997. Its international tour has over 120 stops on 4 continents and prize money that exceeds $500,000. A major reason for its tremendous growth is due to its similarity to able-bodied tennis. The only major rule difference is that wheelchair tennis players are allowed 2 bounces. We've asked a few of the top players to show coaches and players the techniques needed to learn and teach the wheelchair game. The biggest difference between the 2 games is in mobility and the fact that the wheelchair players do everything: hit, move and turn with only their hands and arms. Spins, grips and strokes are basically all the same.
One of the most important things that has changed the last couple of years is the camber. It's called the angle of the wheels. This one has got 15 degrees, some chairs even have 20 degrees. And for tennis it makes you turn so much easier and more stable. But when you go in an everyday chair, like this one, you can go through doors because it's narrower. But this one, for tennis, is much better. Another thing that has changed is the 3rd wheel in the front. It's a rollerblade wheel. It makes you turn much easier and leaning forward gives a lot of stability. Some players like a 4-wheeler, but your student should try and see which design they prefer. Some players also use the 4th wheel. My chair is so tippy that without the 4th wheel I should fall backwards. That's why I use it. Some players don't like the 4th wheel. They think you can turn much easier when you only turn on your back wheels, like this. Another major advancement is the use of lighter materials, titanium or aluminium, instead of the old-fashioned chronoli steel. Lighter means a lot quicker. Chairs nowadays are about 8 to 10 kilograms or 15 to 20 pounds. There are adjustable chairs and custom-made chairs. In adjustable chairs, you can move the back wheels forward and backward. You can also change the angle of the big wheels. Another thing you can change is the height of the seat. It is just what you like. In a custom-made chair, everything is fixed. It's fitted by a professional, but it's more expensive. And wheelchairs for tennis don't have brakes. Maybe you wonder why I use all these straps. Wheelchair tennis players want to be one with their chair. That's why some use strapping around their feet, over their legs, or around the waist. It's very important to be one with your chair. So I advise to let your students try what areas of strapping they like and what they are most comfortable with. Okay, now Stevie will show you how to move this equipment around. Stevie, it's your turn now. Come on.
As in able-bodied tennis, mobility accounts for about 85% of the game. Simply put, if you can't get to the ball, you're not going to be able to put it back. The first skill that needs to be obtained is the ability to push with the racket in the playing hand. The game moves much too fast to be able to move the racket from hand to hand or to the lap and then back to the playing hand. Because the hand needs to wrap both around the grip and the rim, I typically recommend that they drop down a size in racket grip. So for example, if they were using a 4 3/8, possibly dropping down to maybe a 4 1/4 grip. Here's how it's done. The contact point is between the middle finger, the thumb, and the grip, pressed up against the rim in a slightly open posture. Be careful not to get the thumb wrapped too far into the rim as to get it caught. Because the grip is a major contact point in pushing the chair, oftentimes the grip gets worn down pretty fast depending on which grip you use. So grip tape or replacement grips need to be a regular part of your equipment in your bag. The single most important factor to mobility is keeping the chair moving. If your chair stops, you should be in a panic to get it rolling again.
So on-court movement is continuous. The path of the wheelchair player resembles figure eights during a rally. How they are executed is often unique to the individual. These are simply the standards. The first is the outer loop. Turning away from the net allows the player to recover deep and towards the middle. This is more an advantageous position in wheelchair tennis. The second is the inner loop. The player turns into the court, but as a result positions himself more inside the court, allowing the player less reaction time. Notice that Stevie uses the more difficult crosshand method to make the turn. Which turn used depends on court positioning and momentum of the chair before and through the shot.
Another important concept in wheelchair tennis is reverse mobility. Reverse mobility is any time you're headed away from the opponent towards the fence. For example, when you're attacking the net, if your approach shot is not what you hoped it would be and you get lobbed, this is where you bring in reverse mobility.
The best path to affect reverse mobility is down the middle. Retreating here gives the player a balanced push. That means that the non-playing hand is doing most of the work turning the chair inward to both the add court and the juice court. It also places the playing shoulder in position to hit the backhand from which side the player has more reach.
Now I'm going to show you a few of my favorite drills to develop your on-court mobility. The first drill I'd like to demonstrate is the spider drill.
Players can and should develop many of their mobility skills on court. Of course, proper stretching is recommended. Try to do these drills with your racket. This particular drill works on mobility from all areas of the court, emphasizing turning and recovery. Stevie stays low with his weight forward during his push, allowing full range of motion. This ability to bend depends on level of injury of the player.
This drill, a good friend of mine, Randy Snow, 10-time US Open winner, showed me. It's a good way to track your progress on your own without the help of others. We call it the touch and go. You simply touch each line at the service box and see how many times you can do it in a given period of time, 15 seconds, 30 seconds.
This drill is excellent for developing that power push, making quick stops and precise turns.
This is another good touch drill. Make sure your student keeps his eyes level when he's pushing instead of bobbing the head, so he's able to focus when it comes time to hit the ball.
The baseline touch and go drill works on the power push, recovery and endurance. The instructor simply feeds balls from corner to corner that are barely reachable by the student. Pay close attention to how fast Stevie's hands are working throughout the drill.
And remember, all of the movements I've shown you here today vary greatly depending on the disability level. I recommend that you use whatever you have available to you. For example, I can use my legs, so I use them to lock into the chair. Some of the people can't use their legs, then it's ideal to strap them so they're not moving while you're playing the game. And finally, off-court conditioning is extremely important. I play a lot of basketball in the off-season to help with the technical skills of moving the chair, stopping, starting, turning. Also very important is weight training program and cardiovascular program as well. Because the arms move the entire weight of the body, it's important to work on chest, shoulders, triceps, and for balance, the biceps and the back.
We'll first start with the forehand grip. I typically recommend the continental grip. Since we need to push the chair with both hands, switching grips is very difficult. The continental grip can be used for all ground strokes. To more advanced players, you can introduce the Eastern or the Western grip. The stationary forehand is the same. Turn, racket back and down, swing to contact point out in front, and follow through. I always use the same progression methods as for able-bodied tennis. Start them in close with a short backswing. Since hitting and moving to the ball is twice as difficult in wheelchair tennis, always start with a stationary shot. Always make sure when you hit the ball, keep your non-dominant hand on the wheel for support. Now lengthen the backswing and the distance from the net. Coaches still use the one bounce feet, since timing for the two bounce feet is still very difficult. Next progression is adding mobility. Start the student with a one push, hit, recovery. Make sure you stress recovery from the beginning. Both a loop or a simple push backwards are acceptable.
And pros, remember, the hardest shot to hit for the wheelchair player are those aimed directly in front of them.
Next, we're moving to baseline mobility. The able-bodied sequence, turn, racket back and down, run and hit the ball, is now replaced by turn, run or push to the ball, racket back and down, and hit the ball.
Attack the ball with the chair turned slightly into the court at the 45 angle. This will allow shoulder and chair rotation through the shot. Make sure the ball stays to the side and out in front. 3 turns are executed therefore. First to the ball, then into the shot, then back to the middle.
Able-bodied players can use their legs to rotate their hips and power themselves to the shot. We obviously can't do that, but we are able to generate torque and forward momentum by rotating our chair through as we swing. By pulling the wheel back, the non-dominant hand rotates the chair and the player forward and into the shot. As you can see, it's the same in-the-loop turn Stephen Wells had taught you for recovery, but now we use it to generate power. Since it's very difficult to turn and hit at the same time, it should only be used for intermediate to advanced players.
The timing of the backswing should be simultaneous with the ball's final bounce.
The old-fashioned thought was that wheelchair tennis players were not able